Hussbus, bus stop. All right, what is up, everybody? JP Hussey here, owner of the Hussey Team Mortgage Advisors, with this week's Hussbus, bus stop. I hope everybody is well. Beautiful day out here in the Philly area. I see a bunch of stuff. You wake up, it's 40 degrees. Midday, it's 80. We don't know what's going on. Do we put the air conditioner on or not? Who knows anymore? Heat, air conditioner. It's that time of year in Philly, but I love it. All right. As long as the sun's out, I love it. All right. So, anyway, want to jump right into it. I think a lot of people get intimidated when they think about buying a house because they just don't understand it. And they think there's going to be all these extra costs, and someone tells them one thing and it's going to be a lot different when they get there. And that's a valid concern. Okay. If you're not working with the right people, you could be told the wrong information. Okay. I will say, though, in today's world, the consumer is so much more protected than pre 2008, let's say. Okay. So you have to get certain documents. If it's disclosed wrong, the lender has to pay some of that, or the mortgage broker on certain fees. That's a whole nother discussion. Okay. But it's very tough to get baited and switched in today's world, which is how it should be. Tons of compliance on our end, which can be annoying, but I do agree that it should be there right now. Okay. And always should be. All right. Maybe it could swing back a little bit the other way. All right. Because so it doesn't affect some timing. But either way, it's there for a reason, okay? But nonetheless, it's still hard to understand how much money I'm going to need when I buy a house, okay? So that's what we want to do today. We want to try and break it out in some simple terms, all right? But being very thorough as best we can, but simple, okay? We always say when you're buying a house, the two most important numbers are your monthly payment, of course, and how much money I need at closing, all right? Those are the two numbers that we focus on when we give estimates to people, okay? Because that's all that matters. And that's what people want to know for the most part. Sure, there's a bunch of little things, but when you break it down, those are the two big numbers, all right? So today, let's break down let's do an example, how much money you need, and we'll go through some of the costs, okay? For a $400,000 purchase price in the state of Pennsylvania. Now, we are licensed in New Jersey and Florida, okay? And every state is different. But for this one, we're going to look at Pennsylvania, all right? Pennsylvania is unfortunately fairly expensive state. I'll break that down. But let's just break it down and see what you would need for a $400,000 purchase price in really the cheapest manner for the most part. All right. So let's run through this. If you see my screen, you got a $400,000 purchase price, Pennsylvania. We're going to do a 3% down payment. All right. Now you could do USDA. Hey, if you're a veteran, you could do 0% down, like USDA, 0%, 0%. You don't have this down payment, but we're going to look at a typical 3% conventional loan from now. Be fairly conservative, okay? So when you do close, I'll tell you a higher number. Hopefully, it all comes down. Because you're going to see it's a lot of third-party type situations and fees that the lender doesn't control, but we have to disclose to you properly, okay? So anyway, $400,000 purchase price, 3% down payment, property taxes, all right? There's taxes on the property. Let's say that's about $4,500 per year, and homeowners insurance at $900 per year. These are good, solid estimates, all right? So if we're going to break it down, all right, 400,000, trying to get out of this as cheap as possible, okay? Down payment right here, $12,000. All right, boom, 3% of 400,000. Pretty simple number to calculate. 12 G's. Things you can't shop for. All right, there's things you can shop for with a mortgage. This can be confusing, and some things you can't. All right, so some of those things you cannot pay for or shop. I'm sorry, is an appraisal. All right, it's a third-party fee. All right, so we have to run it through certain appraisal management companies. So it's about $500. Credit report, about $35. All right, and some of these things may vary depending on where you go, but this is a very good, solid estimate. All right, in PA. It's very well regulated. So a lot of things are going to be the same for the most part wherever you go. All right. Flood, they have to, whether you live on top of a mountain or not, they have to see if you're in a flood zone. So things you can shop for, if we're looking at that bucket, about $543, let's say. All right. Things you can shop for. Now, this would be lender's title insurance. All right. That's a big one in PA. All right. Title insurance is pretty, whether I agree with it or not. And I am part owner in a title company. Something you need. Okay. It is pretty expensive. And again, regulated in Pennsylvania. It's your decision who you use, but it's going to be the same really wherever you go. You want a team that's going to be quick, simple to use. You don't really have to do much on the title side. That's going to be lender, mortgage broker, and real estate agent. But it is technically something that you can shop for. All right. So if you look at this, lender's title insurance, that's just over $2,700 on $400,000 purchase price. Title endorsements, $300. Now, if you're in an HOA, condo, a PUD, a planned unit development, that might be $400. Some of the things are going to vary. It's specific to the house, remember, okay? But this is a good, solid idea of how it works. Closing protection letter, $125. That's standard. Owner's title, maybe about $100. Maybe some miscellaneous title fees. Maybe there's a notary fee, a wire fee. Whether I agree with those ones or not, we want to buffer it in depending on who you use. So that bucket there, just over $3,400. Now, transfer tax, all right? Now, usually in the state of PA, for a total transfer, when you a sale, the seller and the buyer usually split the total transfer tax, which is usually 2%, okay? So seller pays 1%, the buyer pays 1%. Now, if you're in Philadelphia, totally different ballgame. This could be double. All right, so we're really looking at the standard, the most average, maybe in a Philly suburb, Montgomery County, all right, Delaware County, Chester County, even though Delco has some different ones, it's about 1%, all right? So again, everything is property specific here. But if you look at that, that's a big one, $4,000. So look at that, 1% of the $400,000 purchase price, all right? So transfer tax, $4,000. Got some recording fees depending on the county that you're buying in, all right? So again, this changes all the time, but let's say if it's in Montgomery County, it's about $350. Record the mortgage and the deed, all right? So that's that bucket. Now you have homeowners insurance. This is a confusing one. When you buy a house, you have to pay at closing, all right, the full year of the homeowner's premium, all right? This is so the house is covered for the full year. And then what I'll get to in a minute, with your escrow account, all right, if you do escrow, which most people do, then you're paying that homeowner's insurance divided by 12 on that monthly basis into this little kitty, these escrow account. This is a very confusing one to explain. So questions, call me. But you're paying per month, 900 divided by 12, into this little kitty. It's part of your monthly payment each month. It adds up, so it then has enough for next year when it's due. Can be very confusing, all right? But so you know, this is what it is going to be. Got to pay a full year. Then in your payment, you're paying towards it. Goes into a bucket so that has enough, all right? So if $900 is the premium you get, that's what you'll need at closing, all right? Prepaid interest. This is going to vary. Depends on the day that you close, all right? So most people like to close at the end of the month because it saves on prepaid interest, all right? Mortgages are paid in the arrears or the back end. So if you close in May, all right, most situations, 90% of them, all right, unless you do an instant credit, another big thing, right, that we can talk about later, little tricks, close in May, first payment won't be till July. So you skip, all right, your June payment. Not really skip it. Mortgages are paid in the back end. You go to pay off that loan. It's always higher than your principal balance, all right? But that's why you have prepaid interest. If you close on May 15th, you have to pay interest from May 15th to the end of May, nothing on June, first payment July. So this is why people close later in the month because it saves on prepaid interest, all right? For the sake of this, we're going to put $400. That's a bucket. Now, another very confusing one, like I was talking about with the homeowners insurance earlier, tax escrow and tax prorations. I'm going to keep it simple for you right now. If your full year of property taxes, which could be school, which is the big one, due in like August, you have city, you have county, due in, let's say March. Very confusing in PA sometimes, but to keep it simple, if your taxes are about $4,500, all right, for the whole entire year, all added up, you're going to need about a full year at closing, need a little bit more as a buffer, all right? That's why I put $4,800, a little bit of a buffer. Taxes are $4,500 a year. You have to split up the tax escrow and tax prorations, all right? So part of this is you have to put money into an escrow account, okay? all calculated depending on when taxes are due and the day that you close. Put into an escrow account along with your monthly payments so they have enough in there to pay your taxes for you. Now, these aren't costs, this is just taxes to pay them for you when they're due. The reason I say a full year, say you put $2,000 in escrow, that's what the calculation is. You usually have to pay back the seller, all right, any taxes they have paid in advance prorated. So if you close in May, the seller paid their taxes all the way up front for school taxes that are due in August. They're going to prorate it from that day you closed until August and pay back the seller. All right, because I'm not living in the house, so it's a proration. It's a very tough concept, all right, to understand. But to keep it simple, how it's going to work in PA, you're going to need just a little bit over what those total property taxes are. Confusing, I know. But again, if you keep it simple, you have enough going on. This is what it is in PA. How much money do I need? What's my payment? So if we add up everything, down payment, closing costs, taxes, escrow, everything, keeping it simple, you can buy a $400,000 home with about $26,000 to $28,000. I'd say right in that range. This doesn't include any points you might pay to buy down the rate, no underwriting processing fees that we don't charge them, but that someone else may charge. All right, we're buffering in. I'm going to say about $26,000, $28,000 on a $400,000 purchase price. That's about the cheapest you could do it. All right. So I hope this helps kind of breaking this down because it's a lot to take in. But if you look at it from a simple basis, $400,000 purchase price, 3% down payment, property taxes at $4,500 a year, homeowners insurance at $900 a year, you're looking at about $26,000 to $28,000. Hey, if you have any questions, please give us a call at any time. Later. Hussbus, bus stop.